Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 3G's Fitness Podcast, 3 generations of fitness. I'm Coach Cisco.
I'm Coach Michael.
And I'm Coach Kyle.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about an important topic that's going to help out with the belly. What are we going to talk about today, Mike?
Cortisol and insulin.
Cortisol and insulin. What do we know?
Sounds like some fancy kitchen ingredients there. What is cortisol and insulin?
It's a hormone.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Insulin, for instance. What's so funny?
It's just your delivery.
Yeah.
It's a hormone.
It's a hormone.
All right,
It is.
keep going. It is.
Hormones. They're
Hormones.
both. Yeah. Two
Cortisol
different
and
hormones.
insulin,
These are
they're
two
hormones.
different things.
It's the insulin deals with the sugar.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
A lot of
If
diabetics
your
know
sugar's-
this word.
What's that?
A lot of diabetics know this word.
Yes.
Type 1, type 2.
So if your sugar's high, if you're putting in a lot of taking in a lot of sugar, it raises your insulin level because it goes into your blood, but it kicks what it doesn't keep. It kicks to your fat cells, which what happens to the belly fat, which grows and stuff. So it's very important that your sugar intake is low. You're not if you're going to diet, let's just say, and you're going to use the insulin and cortisol diet, sugar plays a major role in the insulin. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, sugar spikes your insulin, which insulin is the hormone that basically partitions all the nutrients around the blood,
Yes.
bringing it to where it needs to be.
Yes. So when you put in all that sugar, it goes to your fat cells, which mostly goes to your belly fat because that's where your receptors are. Correct? Yeah. Let me know if I'm wrong.
No, you're good so far.
Yeah,
You're good. You're good.
Well,
good
I've
so
been
far.
on
Good
it
so far.
I've been on it since January 1st.
What have you
Second.
been? You've been on insulin?
No, I've been on doing the cortisone insulin diet. In
What-
other words, I was being very
insulin
careful.
diet.
I was being very careful with my sugar intake.
Is that what cortisone insulin diet is?
Yes, it's watching your sugar.
Valid.
Okay, so that you don't eat a bunch of high sugar foods like bread, candy, and stuff like that, and all that sugar is going into your blood system. It's kicking out to your into your fat cells, which goes to your belly when you're the insulin, and so that's where you grow.
Hey,
that's where you get bigger and bigger.
Let's talk about you then. So you've been on this diet since January. What changes have you seen?
I've lost 25 pounds. I was 200. I was 240 over 2 months ago.
I was about to say, yeah.
Today
8 weeks.
I weighed in this morning at 213 because
Really?
I'm actually trying to get to a weight class in my powerlifting, which is the 198 class.
So in 8 weeks, roughly. So that way, because.
But you got to be it's very strict.
Okay.
It's very, very strict. I literally have no sugar through the day, through the week.
Yeah.
Literally none. I may get a little bit, but I drink, obviously I drink nothing but water.
Okay.
Okay. And, I now make my own protein bars, which I don't have sugar in them.
So you control that factor
Yes,
to your eliminating sugar.
I use what they call monk fruit, which is a plant, which is a fruit derived from China. And I use that on my protein bars. Because when you look at a protein bar, you look at the sugar intake on there, it tells you 2 grams of sugar until you get to the sugar alcohol.
Yeah, some of them are higher. Some can be really high.
It gets pretty high. And then the carbs, I'm able to control the carbs I put in my protein bars and stuff. And to be actually honest with you, protein bars are easy to make.
You've been noticing that, huh?
They make it like 10 to 15 minutes, man.
So-
and boom, because it doesn't require any baking. Certain ones do, but most of them, they don't require any baking and stuff. It's usually rolled oats with, organic cocoa butter and things like that, and almond milk and things. So it has very little sugar in them and stuff.
So you've changed your diet that originally was feeding into these hormones of cortisol and insulin, and you shot up to 240 pounds.
Yes.
Now by kind of working with your diet,
Right.
you've been in 8 weeks. That's a pretty drastic change
that's a
in
big
8
one.
weeks.
It's a big one. Now I was actually surprised, but I was carrying excess weight. as you start losing weight, it gets a little bit harder.
I was about to ask. I mean,
But when you're carrying a lot of weight,
it goes off quick.
It goes quick to a certain point. Then that's where the cortisol comes into play. Okay. Sleep.
Wait.
Exercise.
What is cortisol?
What's that?
What's cortisol?
What is it?
Yeah. Well, we know it's a hormone, but how do you dig?
Sleep.
No. Cortisone is the stress hormone.
It's a stress hormone.
It's a stress
like
hormone.
Insulin.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a stress hormone.
Yes.
It just plays another different area of a diet, which is sleep, exercise, walking, things that keep you active.
Yep. They all affect the cortisol
people
levels.
don't realize if you don't get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, your cortisol level is going to be affected. Okay, if
You're
you
more
don't
stressed.
really exercise, your cortisol is going to be affected.
And you're more stressed. Yep.
And those cortisol being affected is gonna hurt you not only on your training, but on your diet. See, so they both play a significant role in your diet.
Oh, I agree.
As well as your physical ability and stuff.
I
So using those two methods, I found out works really well. I mean, over the last 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, it's been very effective with me. And your protein intake is extremely important because I do a day, and you guys might look at this but I do about 300 to 400 grams of protein a day. Okay, just within my protein drink, I do over 125. And this is monitored. It's not like I just say, it's very well monitored. So my first meal is usually high in protein, which are, eggs, usually beef in some form.
So you're drinking roughly, let's just say 120 grams of protein. I believe that. And then you're eating solid foods, probably like about another 200 grams, give or take. So I believe that. We're not going to give you, what you say, I'm here eating 300 grams. It's like, whoa, let's let the listeners know. Some of it comes in supplements as well, which helps out. So don't shy away from the supplements as well. Because I've always tell clients you need to have that many grams of close to your body weight as possible. And they all think food right away. Everyone thinks supplements will help you get there. So don't be thinking this man just eating.
Yeah. Ideally, it would be from Whole Foods, but supplements would help if you can't get it from Whole Foods.
And it's very
and this is what's important to seniors, okay? That your protein intake is very, very important because if you take in 200 grams of protein in a day, probably only 75 to 100 is probably going into your system.
As seniors.
Because as you get older, muscle mass does become a problem.
And you personally can experience that yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're testing
I
to yourself.
It's not as big as us.
Yeah.
I take in 300 to 400 grams of protein a day. And I make sure that I do that. So I make sure when I take my supplements, that's maybe 125. When I eat my breakfast, more than likely, that's going to be an additional 75 to 100. When you eat ground beef or ground beef strips or whatever, and eggs and potatoes and things like that, you're going to gain that. So then my next meal is going to be at dinner, but during the day, I eat protein bars that I make that I know have anywhere from 10 to 15 grams of protein in each one. And I take those through the day. So I know when I hit that point in the evening, I've already consumed close to 300 to 400 grams of protein, which probably means I'm probably taking in maybe 200.
Okay, so you are really focusing on a high protein diet to help out with your insulin and your cortisol hormones. That way, they're not affecting you in a negative way.
Right. Because I got to keep my mass.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
I have to keep it because I'm a power lifter, and now I'm getting into competing. I'm back into competing and getting back into shape. Protein is an essential. It's very important. And just because I'm competing doesn't mean that a senior doesn't have to do the same thing. They just don't have to do it to that point of intake and protein.
Okay. So you're talking about intake too. And then I love that you emphasize on that because I feel like I feel like it's a repeating record on my end. I always tell a lot of my clients, go on a high protein diet.
Yeah.
A high protein diet will solve a lot of problems. I'm not gonna say it's gonna solve all the problems, but when you go on a high protein diet, it's most likely gonna help out in all areas. So, and I'll let you speak on the other two hormones if you want to, while I go help this man out.
Well, I just want to touch more on the insulin part and why it's important to manage.
Yes, insulin.
You
That's
know,
what happens when you get me excited.
You start dropping stuff out there. I'm like,
I start moving without knowing that I'm moving.
I thought your phone went all the way over there. I was like, let me go help.
Come
him.
on, man. Come on.
But insulin. I think is.
I mean, yeah, like you said earlier, like that has to do with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. You know, if you don't manage your sugars, then that's where the problems arise, where it's like too much blood sugar can cause insulin resistance.
Yeah.
Which is they're not sensitive to the blood sugars anymore, and then it doesn't get partitioned and all that stuff. So what you're doing is good. What you're doing is good. Yeah.
It's and here's the thing is that the cortisol level I think is not understood as much maybe to the average person. And I always talk, like I said, when we work with a lot of our clients, you know, I deal with a lot of women. Women tend to have higher cortisol levels than men, just naturally. And I always let them know, you know, sometimes women are struggling with weight loss. I ask them about their sleep. How's your sleep going? How's your hydration going? Yeah. How's your stress management going?
Exactly. I was gonna say, in simple terms, just like manage your stress.
Yeah, stress is important. You know, there's obviously good stress and bad stress.
Yeah.
You know, and
there's good stress and bad stress.
The good stress is basically
working out.
Yeah, working out.
That's true. That is stress. Absolutely, 100%.
Every time you're lifting weights, you're stressing your muscle.
And
that's a good stress.
Bad stress is worrying about paying bills, worrying about
life,
making these ends meet.
Yes.
You know, making sure the rent's paid, and you know, getting frustrated over it. That's bad stress, and that's the stress you're trying to eliminate. The good stress you're trying to keep, and that's going to happen when you're going to the gym, when you're walking, when you're doing those things. That's the good stress. And it's like you said, I don't think people understand the importance of insulin and cortisol.
No, they don't.
I don't think they really understand it.
Like they'll understand sugar is bad. They'll understand that part because we've been taught that since we were little kids.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, right?
Too much of something is always bad.
Yeah,
and so, but but then it's more the stress. That's when it's like clients hit a plateau where they're not seeing much success. Sometimes the simple thing is like you said, well, maybe you're stressing about paying bills or anything like that. When the body is holding on to that negative stress, it's not going to allow the positive stress to do its work, if that makes sense, you know. So
how can one manage their stress a little better?
Oh, I like how Michael Justin Felcher said, you know, going out for walks,
I walk my dog every single morning.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
I walk her at 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm fresh. Before I head to the gym, I walk her. And I walk at a pace, not super quick, but I move my arms a lot when I'm walking.
And that helps you not be stressed?
Yes.
That helps you not worry about not paying your bills?
I've had a lot of good
that's
stress.
a real thing. And probably
I've had a lot of good stress,
almost everybody,
a lot of bad stress too.
Almost everybody be dealing with the pay your bills stress.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, you know, but you don't have to take it to the extreme like some people will do.
Yeah, and to the point is being active. It's being active. When we're active, we release endorphins. Endorphins is the good stuff that the body will reciprocate to, and now you're
what?
Reciprocate to receive.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to sound professional up in here. I'm a dad now, so I receive.
Big vocabulary. Vocabulary.
It's just the good stuff that the body will receive.
Okay.
Reciprocate. You got to reciprocate.
Believe it or not, I learned this from the young buck. I learned it from him about insulin and cortisol. Yeah, when we first started talking about it was a little ways back. He was talking about it, and I didn't really understand it until I said to him, let me research this. Let me read about it, and let me see if I can understand, what he was talking about. And I actually did. I went back and I read about it, and I did research on it. And I started to realize that, wow, insulin could be my biggest problem. Because, I eat bread, I eat pastries, candy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe that's my problem. So let me eliminate it completely. Let me make my own protein bars so I can control the sugar intake. Let me leave bread alone. Let me leave pastries alone. Let me leave all these things that are affecting me. And I did that, and then I started to realize, wow, man, I'm down 3 pounds. Wow, man, I'm down 5 pounds. And this just kept going over the months, the weeks and the months. It started happening more and more. But I do find it now, right now, it's harder.
Well, yeah, because you dropped down 20.
Right.
Yeah, so you're kind of hitting a little bit of plateau where you might need to do some switches or anything like that. But I love that you started it and that you started making that change. What you're doing is you went after insulin.
Yeah.
You saw what was spiking things up and what was slowing you down, and you started eliminating it. And I'm glad you gave a list of things, because now maybe someone who's listening, they're all like, wait a minute, he did this, he got rid of that, he got rid of that. If someone who's 73 years old is losing this much weight, what can I do at the age of, 33 or something like that, right?
Well, yeah, I got one of my clients right now. He's 73, and he noticed, wow, he goes, wow, you're losing, what are you doing? So I explained to him about insulin and cortisol. So now he's like, hey, well, make me some of your protein bars and do this and do that. And he goes, I'm going to eliminate you eating bread. I'm going to do this. And he's now noticed, he goes, wow, I'm dropping weight, but it's coming from my belly. And that's where I told him that's where insulin attacks. It attacks the receptors in your belly and around your waistline. And if you continue that, what you're doing, it's gonna affect other areas after it hits your belly area. So if you're trying to lose belly fat, basically, the insulin way is the go. Yeah. Along with the cortisol way is the go.
Stay active, manage your stress, and manage your sugars.
So I got to thank the young buck.
I was about to say, give a shout out to Kyle. I know we did an episode about, digging a little bit deeper in.
A while back.
So there you go. Like I said.
See, so the old goat does listen to the youngster.
Well, that's like I said. Once again, format. 3 generations, bridging the gap.
Exactly.
We learned a little.
We all learn from each other. We've grown so much since we started this podcast. So we're going to continue to grow.
If someone who is 78 years old can learn from someone who is 28, hey, we're all here and we're all here. That means we're doing our part with this podcast. So you know what, you guys? Thank you, Michael, Justice Felcher, for sharing that. Thank you, Kyle, for informing us a few episodes back. And like I said, hopefully you guys learned something on maybe what Michael was doing that you guys can interpret for yourself to help you get to your goals. And any final words you want to tell to the listeners about your journey so far?
Don't look at dieting as being a bad thing, okay? Because you can diet and live really a good life, especially as a senior. And I talk to seniors that, you do have to control what you eat now, and you do have to control what you take. It's important because we're not like the youngsters these days to where they can eat anything and they can just keep going. we're at that age to where we eat something that's going to show. Because we don't exercise like they do, but exercise is important if it's 1 day or if it's 2 days or if it's 3 days. It doesn't matter. It's keeping your body moving. If you do it at home, if you do it online, or if you have a trainer, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're in there doing your best. And that's all your trainer is going to ask you for is to put forth that effort.
Well said, Mike. Well said. And on that note,
I'm Coach Cisco.
I'm Coach Michael.
And I'm Coach Kyle.
We'll catch you on the next episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you guys are watching on mobile, hype the video. We'll see you then.